So this is it. This is the book that Santa gave the city of Guelph. This is the art of attraction. This store was the highest dollar per square foot generating retailer of images in the market. My competition, like Athena and the Framing Experience, actually sent marketing executives into this location covertly to try to figure out how it was that I was selling more product than their franchises. When I found out from the sales agents that this happened, I simply said, why didn't they just come in and ask? I would have told them the reason why this location is so successful is because of the way we treated the employees and the customers and our suppliers. We treated our employees and customers and suppliers with respect. We gave them the best possible service, the best products, the best selection, the best price that we could. And when we did that, the customer and the employees were generally very satisfied and would encourage people to shop here. This is a store where I met Janet Perry and we began a relationship. We moved in together at a place that was owned by Bill and Bell at 186 Norfolk. It was at 186 Norfolk that we started a bed and breakfast. We later purchased a home at 102 Aramasa and continued the bed and breakfast concept. It was also here that I met a local artist named John Manick, who gave me the rights to his work of art called The Spirit of Christmas for the next 115 years. I still have it for another 100. This company started back in the early 1980s at Dixie Valley Mall in Mississauga. I also got involved with a product called Laser Art, which is a silk screen glass with some reflective material in behind, and the biggest selling version of this was the CN Tower. It's a real tourist product. They loved it. So I thought, well, where do most tourists go? So I began marketing into the States. I had big plans for this. So I started in Florida, tourist capital of the world. I went to NASA and said we could develop a space shuttle for them. Disney with Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. Busch Gardens with a palm tree. SeaWorld with dolphins. It was endless. It was successful. It was my first attempt at international distribution. It was in my early 20s. This is a library of the publishers I dealt with. I have a great relationship with every one of these people. You could come into the Art of Attraction and order from over 500,000 different images. I carried everything. New Kids on the Block. There were these 3D pictures where you stared at them and all of a sudden they would turn into a 3D image. Some people probably know what I'm talking about. Also Renoirs, Monets, black and whites, you name it, Talbots, natural shots, Ansel Adams. And people would say, why would you arrange for such a long contract for that Santa print? Why 115 years? The market surely would be saturated before then. Well, that's not true. These publishers, these catalogs, contain images that are hundreds of years old. Michelangelo's and Monet's and Renoirs. And the bestsellers continue to be bestsellers and continue to make millions of dollars for the owners and publishers of those images. The only thing that will slow down the Santa is if Christmas becomes obsolete, and I don't believe anyone thinks that will happen. This is our analysis from Stonewall Mall for our store, The Art of Attraction. And there you have it. Number one. It's the best-selling retailer. So, John Manick, he came into my store with his Santa print, and this is what it looks like here. A lot of people have this, in Guelph at least. And we signed a contract at Norfolk Guest House, at the original location, 186 Norfolk. This contract was pretty significant. It was witnessed by April Uden. It included a dispute resolution clause. It was a very simple solution to any problem that would exist. So if a dispute between the parties relating to this agreement arises, the parties agree to use the following procedure prior to either party pursuing other available remedies. So this was the first remedy to any dispute. And John's never initiated this or followed any of the protocols, which would indicate to anyone that he hasn't had a problem with me. And that's why I claim I have ownership to copyright for another 100 years. This is a letter I wrote to the Copyright Office during the submissions. It included a lot of documentation. They issued me the copyright. This is me as the owner. And you can go to the Canadian Intellectual Property Office and verify it for yourself. It's updated every day. I've gone to the media, multiple media, discussing the application and approval for copyright. And John Manick is very aware of all of this. There's no secrets. And this is interesting. As soon as I secured the copyright to the best-selling image in history, which the Santa is, and I should know, considering I've dealt with all the publishers and I know how much they sold, I decided to do something very unique. I saw all the McDonald's going into the Walmarts, and I thought, why not just drop the M off of Walmart? And it's art for the walls, wall art. And take my #1 dollar per square foot generating retail stores, along with the best-selling image in history, and give it to Walmart. They liked it. So we did a national campaign at Christmas. I gave them exclusive rights. Santa surrounded by a lot of different pictures. This is the company that framed for us. John Manick was very excited. Went to the media again, also detailing how I obtained the copyright, got the Walmart deal. And as you see, the artist believes in Santa and Christmas memories now more than ever. Clause in effect. The bankers were very impressed. Banks should know what a first-named mortgager on a contract means. We are pleased to confirm that we have approved your application for a mortgage loan under the following terms and conditions. Under the following terms and conditions, an applicant must be placed on title. I've never signed off on this mortgage either. And this is the house that we bought. You can see this all online. I have a link on my website. And this is where I became very busy. At 102 Aramasa, as you can see, Walmart was located at. I'm dealing with the largest companies in the world. We did $17,000 with Zellers in this one location. The management said that our Santa product outsold all the other Christmas products combined. Think of that. One picture, one product, can outperform all the other Christmas products combined. Now back then the internet was relatively slow, but I still thought we should get some exposure and get online. That's where everyone was heading. So I came up with a simple name, Santasource.com. And I started the website, and this was the homepage. We had the print available, frame versions, laminated versions. We were coming up with cards and mugs. And I started a school program. I wanted the print to start contributing to charity. I mean, that's what the name's all about. The spirit of Christmas, spirit of giving. So, the spirit of Christmas, once upon a time, there was an image of Santa that helped the lives of children everywhere. Not just children, but everybody. All our brothers and sisters in humanity. So, click here for the school program. And I asked the website developer, can we make this book flip? Like if we take the cursor and click on the page, that it flips and has the sound of a page flipping. And he said, no, it's complicated and the software's too slow now. And so everything I was asking just seemed to be, more advanced than the internet was capable of. So, unfortunately I had to wait a little while, and now look at me, I'm flipping a book that Santa gave. And this is the first school that the Santa was used to raise funds for. And this school was totally amazed. Sold 600 prints, raised over $6,000 just with one product. And we have many products. We could raise tens of thousands of dollars for each and every school in North America very easily. And we're always going to include a portion of every sale to purchase organic foods, and this is us involved with the largest grocery chains in Canada. Here it is, part of the spirit. Major media again, incorporating the usage of the image in the name. And SantaSource.com. This is a letter that was used by our exclusive framer, discussing how 4,800 units were sold in less than 1 week selling time in 39 Zehrs. And they were sold at $50 a pop. That's $250,000 of revenue for Zehrs in 7 days. Unfortunately, we sold out. This was the last week of November. Can you imagine if we had it for all December? It's a monstrous image. There's nothing like it. Here's us buying $10,000 worth of food. This was the first purchase of food that we made. Came in Maryland from the Guelph Food Bank. This food was distributed to the Guelph Food Bank and the Toronto Food Bank, where it was also distributed across Canada. This was the first purchase in the United States. A company called Myers. Big store. They repeated the program year after year. So we continue to spread this concept to other companies and products. Theo International, along with Worley, developed a mug for Tim Hortons and Starbucks. Tim Hortons with their charity. This was very interesting. That's right. Santa is the only image more recognized than Ronald McDonald. So we put the two together. We put number 1 and number 2 together to raise money for Ronald McDonald houses. This is the agreement with the framer, Border Trends. The reason why I signed an agreement with them is because I wanted to go into the United States, supply the American market with frame Santas, starting out with these gentlemen. Bill Breitz from Kroger was instrumental in being the first major retailer, grocery retailer, to sell our frame Santas. I was at this meeting. Things were getting very busy, so I had to delegate. However, this was so important, I wanted to be there. It's coincidental that Bill Breitz just retired this year on July 19th, which was my birthday. So there you have it. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. This is Placket, Rocan Laminating, company owned by Jim. Jim is a great businessman. He is the best in this industry. There's no doubt. And I convinced him to come to Florida with me to begin developing the American market with Walmart USA. And we started in Florida. I love Florida. Great state. And we had successful meetings. This is the program I developed for students in America and schools in America. It was easier to work with fundraising in America than it was in Canada. Canada seems to have a more complicated approval process. So I started out in the States more quickly. And this was a very simple envelope I developed for the children to take home. And they could also go to the website and check out all the different products, get a more detailed version of what they looked like. And the parents would just simply go online or just even take a look at the image here and click off what they wanted, whether it was plaques or cards or a combination of both. And the student would collect the money and go back to their school, and the school would collect it all, total it up, mail it to us, and we would distribute the product to them. And they would raise money for their schools and raise money for food banks and organic. Now this is where it gets very interesting. I end up having an interview with Canada Post in 2004 for a letter carrier position, and I get hired. And there's a lot of literature that began getting mailed to me. And I'd read the literature. I mean, I'm a good employee, I'm interested in what it is that we need to do as an employee and as a company, and competing and delivering a superior customer experience was important. And this caught my eye. And so did this. It does depend on us. And then a good friend of mine did some research and came across this information where the University of Toronto, Martin Prosperity Institute, a think tank at the University of Toronto, did a really serious study on everything that we know about Santa Claus and where would he relocate to, if he had to move from the North Pole. And Guelph won. According to all the stats and all the historical information that we know about Santa, he would choose Guelph, Ontario. So I immediately wrote Santa. We have the Santa letter writing campaign with Canada Post, and it works really well. So I thought, well, maybe I should write Santa. Tell him that the University of Toronto did this study, and was he aware of it? And then mentioned other things about, maybe I could become involved in some way with spreading the spirit of Christmas. This letter you can read online. And Santa wrote back. I recommend reading this letter exchange. So Santa's on board. And Santa's now hooked up to the internet, emailing. It's actually hooking up a camera to his sleigh, and it's becoming all high tech. So I've taken his advice, what he wrote in the letter, and thought, why not? He's been around for a while. He's a good guy. He's, got some wisdom. So the first thing I did was give the letter carriers of the world exclusive rights to deliver the Spirit of Christmas products that we design. And the elves also got involved and wrote me an email about how we could use this image on a card and how it would be considered Santa's favorite card for many reasons. It informs people about the program and encourages organic farming, and it helps feed those with food insecurity. It's a good vehicle. It's got a lot of potential. So Santa's made a promise that if he sees this card when he's delivering presents to your home, that if the parents and children write a message on the left side of the card, he'll do his very best to reply on the right side of this card. So, leave a message for Santa on Christmas Eve and wake up in the morning and see what happens. That's why it's his favorite card. Also, these are a few other items that he considers his favorite. It's his favorite picture, a plaque. It's his favorite mug. Drinks his milk and hot cocoa out of this when he's writing letters. This is a plate. And you can put out the cookies and organic goodies out for people at Christmas and Santa. You know, there's lots of organic companies in the world now. Lots of organic treats. And the elves and Santa suggested, well, instead of all this packaging, you know, with all of the inks and materials used, and, you know, these products usually contain two separate packagings. Like, they have the exterior and then they're wrapped in plastic again. And Santa said, well, why don't we just, you know, convince these manufacturers of organic products to just fill our mugs with their products and get rid of all that packaging, you know. It's a pretty good idea. So instead of just doing it at Christmas time, why not do it all year? Turn it into an all-year product. How do we do that? Very simply. We just, you know, be proud Canadians. Show that we care. Mother's Day, birthdays, just because, you know. Send somebody a mug with these logos on them. Celebrate all year. You know, fill them full of organic chocolates, or jelly beans, or jujubes, whatever. Whatever the favorite is. Fill these mugs up with organic treats and mail them to a friend or family. Or just the newspaper boy, whatever. Do all these different mugs, fill them up. Include a prepaid postaged card so that you can also have the recipient forward the good news. Just, you know, write a letter to someone else and say, hey, check this out. This is really neat. Program we can all help each other out with. Shirts, color coordinated, so letter carriers can wear them to work, you know. Just very simply inscribed, very quietly, part of the Spirit. Hats. It's endless. The possibilities are endless. Part of the Spirit Christmas stocking, fill it up with organic goodies. Here's another company that pretty well can put our images and logos on everything. Christmas bulbs, glassware, bags. I mean, truly endless. Truly infinite. It just goes on and on and on. And now that the internet is incredibly fast, it's completely different than when I first set up Santasaurus.com, so I've decided to do partofthespirit.com. And partofthespirit.com will be my store and all the other unique products that we come up with, so all these images will be available online to purchase. And again, they'll all contribute to charity. Mostly organic food. Every time anything's purchased, it'll definitely be contributing to the purchase of organic food. This is at the front of our head office. It's a very unique sign. You know, Santa flying over the church. Part of the Spirit Enterprises, a consortium of interests developing organic pathways for generational stewardship. It's a good program for Guelph and for everyone. So again, I thought, you know, with the pitfalls and problems with, you know, the world and what can happen, I decided I better protect this one too. So I applied at the Canadian Intellectual Property Office for Part of the Spirit. I've been using this name for over a decade. No one's ever challenged me. No one ever challenged me during the application process. Even the observers at the Canadian Intellectual Property Office didn't discover anyone else using it. There's no issues. This application is still ongoing. I thought, you know what, this is going to take a lot of time. A lot of countries, I thought, well, the best thing to do is to use common law. So I wrote a letter to a fellow letter carrier and detailed all the searches and all the information related to Part of the Spirit or Santa's Favorite. And nobody's using it anywhere, at least not in England, America, or Canada. I'm assuming the rest of the world is pretty well clear, since if they're not using it in the major markets, specifically the Santa major markets, my assumption is that the other markets are too. So if we ever did discover someone else using this anywhere in the world, I would challenge it in court with this letter and everything else that I own. So I'm pretty comfortable that I've protected Part of the Spirit and the Spirit of Christmas image internationally. So at the head office, on our first Halloween, we decided to avoid all of the bad ingredients that you can find in chocolate bars these days. There's genetically modified organisms and different artificial colors and flavors, and it's quite amazing how harmful these ingredients are. I recommend doing research. I recommend only giving children organic food, period. Don't give them anything that's not organic. There's just too many things in our food now. It's too industrialized. Please do some research. So these are the chocolate bars that we gave out at our head office at Halloween. And this is really neat. This is a slice, a microscopic photo of a slice of ancient papyrus paper. I mean, look at this. It almost looks like ghoulish faces, evolving out of these little pods. So I was so struck by this image. I thought, why don't we just make this available at Halloween? And so when people are going trick-or-treating, they know that this house that has this image is caring about the environment and caring about what children eat, because they're only giving out organic treats. Yeah, I'd like that to catch on. Try to help out, just another time of year. And so, yeah, finishing strong in 2015. Canada Post is very excited about Santa and working with Santa, and Santa's very excited about working with Canada Post with the Santa Literating Campaign.
Here's Santa visiting children at the Toronto Sick Children's Hospital.
Postie truck all decorated up Christmas-like. And this is the letter that Santa wrote to property investors and real estate agents that came through this head office lately, in hopes to encourage people to get involved and purchase this location as the center of the Santa program, the Spirit of Christmas. And that's what it's all about. It's that simple. Guelph is the center of the Spirit of Christmas program. It's where it originated. It's where it's focused. The goal is to manufacture all the different product lines in the city, whether it's the shirts or the mugs. Its goal is to manufacture and assemble these products and to ship them out from the Guelph Depot to the world, and to sell millions, and to encourage letter carriers to purchase these and mail them to each other, or just mail them to your own family members. And you'll know that a letter carrier, you're creating a job for a letter carrier. If you mail it to the States, American letter carrier will deliver it to the home there. If you deliver it to England, a letter carrier will deliver it to home there. So I encourage letter carriers to take a serious look at this program that's original to Guelph, because it's good for all letter carriers, and it's good for the environment, and it's good for all communities. It's good for humanity. Merry Christmas, Guelph.